All right, guys, tonight I have what I'm considering a bit of a sleeper, meaning that I haven't really noticed too much action on this watch, on this particular model. This is the Christopher Ward C7 Rapide Auto, or Rapide, but it's Rapide, so it's, European Rapide. Big thanks to James for lending this in. This is I'm pretty sure my first experience with Christopher Ward, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm actually kind of glad I didn't start out with one of their divers, and this is more of a motorsports or automotive themed style watch. So you can instantly see that with its dial layout and the 60-minute scale on the outside there. Insanely cool case for sure, and the way it's constructed and everything. So let's talk about the case size first, and then I want to get into some of the details that I really like on this guy. First of all, it is a 42 mil watch, but it has a large dial on it, so it's going to look a little bit bigger, but it's going to feel really good on wrist as far as its size. 48 mil lug to lug. I didn't measure it. It has the fixed center links. Let me get that measurement for you real quick while we're talking about it, because you guys know how that extends the lug width. So 52.4 if you're going to count the fixed center link on that. But you do get a nice fold back on the bracelet, so it kind of negates some of that. It's still got a really nice curve, so it's going to flow around the wrist. So it's not as big deal as if it was like, more of a straight out lug design. So only 11.5 millimeter thick. It has a flat sapphire crystal on there, so it keeps that profile super thin. 22 mil lug width, solid end links here, and the bracelet taper on it is super dramatic down to an 18 mil. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the bracelet and clasp in a minute, but I want to talk about the watch a little bit more. So you can see you have a date window at 3 o'clock. Totally doesn't mess with any of the indices or anything. There's no additional cutouts or space taken with that date window. It's very discreet and it's subtle. I think it's nicely placed. I'm happy with that. Not a whole lot of information on the dial. You have the Swiss made, the automatic, and then you have what Christopher Ward calls the double flag up there at the top. I'm glad they went with that applied logo for their for this model instead of the C Ward they do on all their other ones. You have a nice minute track around the outside perimeter there with a red scale going from 0 to 10, matching the red seconds hand, which is really nice and bold, that red second hand. That is red as red can be. Really nice initially skeletonized hand off from the stack, and then you can see it goes right into the loom application on that minute hand. And then the hour hand is, they're nicely polished and chamfered. You can tell they're using some high quality hands. And also the applied indices, the fact that the polished part is so thick, even in low light application before you get into the loom, the visibility is like super good. I'll try to emulate that when right before I do the loom shot. But you can see the dial itself is actually textured almost like asphalt. So it's very, very cool looking, very motor theme and motorsports themed for sure. Now just a little bit further inside of that minute track on the outside there, you have what's called like a triple second count. So you can see the 3 hash marks in between each second mark or minute track or whatever. So it's supposed to be for a little bit more accurate time telling, if you're really timing something with a seconds hand. So I don't know anybody that really does that, but it's there. It's available. Check out those lugs though, how they're scalloped out. This is actually what they call a 4-piece construction case. So you have the main stainless steel part, and then of course you have, it's sandwiched in the middle there is actually aluminum, and then you have your bezel, and then you have your case back. So that's the overall case construction. Those are the 4 pieces. So pretty unique design and construction materials used here. And of course you have that insert up here is going to be aluminum as well. This does house the SW200. I did not throw it on my time grapher, but I suspect that Christopher Ward is using the higher grade SW200, so I'm sure it's going to be good. You have the signed crown with the double flag. The knurling on the crown, I could give it a nick on that as far as the traction on there is not, it's not like overwhelming, it's adequate. The crown feel on it though, the way the threads are butter smooth, and you get a nice little pop. And of course you're going to have your date change here, nice little click over, and then of course you can pull it out that last position. You're going to be able to hack. And the stiffness on the crown, it is very robust. It doesn't move nearly at all. And then threading it back in is no alignment issues or anything with the thread. It just, again, butter smooth. It just goes right back in. Nice little deep case back there. I'm not going to peel that sticker off because James actually sold this watch. I'm sending it out to the new owner here soon. But you can see Christopher Ward, the double flag, Rapide, Swiss made, stainless steel, 10 Atmos, water resist, so 100 meters. And then some serial number information over there. Of course, we already talked about that, but the solid end links, of course. Now, let's talk a little bit about the bracelet, because this is a top grade bracelet. I can easily tell that. The fit and finish on it, the brushing and everything, the way it articulates, everything is really nicely done. And there's a little bit of air gap in there, so you're not going to get too hot. The center links are slightly raised. Of course, you're going to have, I'm not sure what these are. I'm assuming there's some sort of push pin because I don't see screws. So I don't know if it's pin and collar or anything, but I want to talk about the clasp because I have not noticed too much talk on this clasp specifically. You can see it's signed there, Christopher Ward, and you have the double flag there. This is one of the better clasps I have seen. The action on it is super smooth. The pushers are raised out enough that you can easily access them, but they're not obtrusive like where you're going to bump them or anything. And you can see even the, if you can see inside there, the mechanism, it looks like it's very secure. Those lockdown knobs there, they lock down really good. So now you see this other little thing here, okay? Check this out. So you pop this guy, excuse my fat fingers here, but you can slide this, and then you have on-the-fly micro adjust, or Rapide micro adjust. So very slick mechanism there, and quite frankly, it's also very compact, and it's all milled. I mean, that is super thin. Well done, Christopher Ward. That is legit thin. I mean, 6.8. I mean, you're talking, I forget what my Omega was and stuff. It was thicker than that, for sure. This is probably similar profile to some higher end watches that nail it very good. So this is definitely, this is nice. And there was no hot spots. Even with my Omega that I had, I had to kind of sand down a couple of those spots that dug in. This is all smoothed out. I mean, it is very comfortable and super legible. It presents a little bit big on wrist, 7.25 inch wrist, but it wears perfect. No hot spots at all. Super legible. In the bracelet tapering down to 18, wise move. Wise move indeed. That adds to the wrist comfort for sure. So if you're looking for almost like a motorsports themed watch, but and you're good with a 42 mil watch, even if you're good with like a 41, you can easily pull this 42 off. I guarantee it. You're not going to have any issues with that. But the bracelet and the clasp totally seal the deal as far as this watch goes. Let me try to get some transition lighting for you. So I'm going to shut one light off. I can't really shut this one off, but you can kind of see it's a little bit dimmer in here. You can see it's super legible. Those indices are so large that even before you get into the lume, it's just instantly readable. So then once you get into the lume, you can see it has Super Luminova BGW9 as far as I can tell, or unless they have some sort of special formula. Of course, you can see the Seiko showing off over there on the left, but this lume is, there's plenty of real estate for the lume, and it's heavily applied. So there's going to be no disappointment with the lume department. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'm going to try to end this before 10 minutes. Big thanks to James for lending this in. Well done, Christopher Ward. So if you guys are looking for one of these, on their site, I'll put a link in the description. They're listing them for $865 for the automatic. There is a quartz version. It's much cheaper, but I think the case might be different. I'm not 100% sure on that. And then if you look on the used market, I think these could be had for $500-600. That's a pretty good sleeper watch in the $500 to $600 range if you're looking used. Even at $865, I think it's a pretty sweet deal. Yeah, I went over the 10 minute. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.